daily. But this year, as we observe the 100th anniversary of Black History Month celebrations, we're excited about our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, honoring comedy greats. On Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum in downtown LA, we're toasting D.L. Hughley, Melanie Camacho, Earthquake, Munell, Dion Cole, and Martin Lawrence with a surprise guest appearance. A limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon remain, so now would be a good time to head to KBLA1580.com to secure one for yourself. That's KBLA1580.com. A little laughter goes a long way, especially in times like these. So come, join us for our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. Again, tickets are available right now at KBLA1580.com.
Well, I hang around my boy. He's been married for 6 years. Videotaped his wedding day, never watched it. Now and every day he watch it every day, but he watch it in reverse. Because he said he loves seeing himself take that ring back off of that finger. Walking back down that aisle, just waving at her ugly mother down the church, getting back in the limo, back at the bachelor party. Look how happy I was.
KBLA Talk 1580 thanks LA City Council members Curran D. Price Jr. and Heather Hutt for being the presenting sponsors at this year's Black History Month Luncheon. Honoring excellence, resilience, and achievement, we're KBLA Talk 1580.
The blackness, keep on. Never say die, keep on. Blackness, keep on. Never say die, keep on. Blackness, never say die, never say die.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, your host and White House correspondent, right here with you at afternoon drive time. I'm in touch, and so you be in touch. Follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, DRNIIQ. And there I am. I pop right on up, fresh for you to follow. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app if you haven't already. That way you can take us with you everywhere you go. Last but not least, you can tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580, and there we are for your listening pleasure. And while you're at it, subscribe to the KBLA YouTube channel. That way you can not just listen to these action-packed conversations that we have, but you're able to also see us wherever we are. And so there you have it. Have y'all been paying attention to this LA mayor's race? If you're just getting up to speed on the LA mayor's race, I have just a little cheat sheet for you. Little cheat sheet for you if you're just getting up to speed on the LA mayor's race, courtesy of LA Public Press. They put up a really helpful social media post on Instagram about an hour ago, really just highlighting the front runners for the LA mayor's race. For folks who don't know, last Saturday was the filing deadline for mayoral candidates to submit their paperwork. And as a sitting incumbent and the first woman ever elected mayor of LA, Karen Bass, she is seen as the front runner still. Even though it's been a little politically turbulent, according to a number of folks who have been following the work of her administration A lot of folks are pleased with the Inside Safe program that she created, where the number of people experiencing homelessness has decreased for 2 consecutive years for the first time in the city's recent history. That's according to her office. Though you have a number of unhoused people who have criticized her administration for the use of encampment sweeps. And so, there's that. There's Nithya Raman, the LA City Council member who entered into local politics in 2020, supported by the Democratic Socialists of America. She currently represents the 4th District, which stretches from Reseda to Silver Lake. She has helped to champion some pretty strong renter protections by voting to cap rent increases and establish, quotes, just cause eviction protections. Rahman also faced pushback when she proposed a revision to measure ULA in January that would have exempted new apartments from paying the so-called mansion tax. And so there's her, there's Ray Huang. I think I'm pronouncing that right. She's a Democratic Socialist, a community organizer and minister who announced her candidacy for office with many of the same promises as Zoran Mamdani. She's the former deputy director of Housing Now California. She is called publicly to abolish ICE and is pushing for greater reforms to law enforcement and transparency in the city budgeting process. And then there's Adam Miller, an entrepreneur and CEO of the nonprofit Better Angels. He made his wealth developing employee training software. Miller's platform doesn't specifically state any policies or legislative experience, but he uses the pithy acronym THRIVES to describe a plan centered on housing affordability, providing job opportunities, and updating first responder systems. Last but certainly not least, Spencer Pratt. He's a reality TV personality. He announced his candidacy for mayor on the anniversary of the Pacific Palisades fire that burned down his home. It's worth noting that Pratt, who's from the popular reality TV show The Hills, he is a registered Republican, but he told the LA Times he wasn't running under the banner of any political party. And so all are invited. All of these candidates are invited to join us here on A More Perfect Union to talk a little bit more about what they believe they can do to lead the nation's 2nd largest city into the future. But just in case you were wondering, what's going on in the LA mayor's race, consider that your digest, your LA mayor's race digest, and we'll be sure to keep you posted. All right. Now it's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. Kicking us off, Target CEO in the news. Our friends over at The Grio reporting that Target's new CEO begins their tenure with layoffs and leadership shakeup amid continued DEI rollback backlash. Target kicked off February. They kicked off Black History Month, if you can believe it, with Michael Fidelke. I think that's his name. I think that's how you pronounce it. Michael Fidelke officially taking the helm as new CEO, and just days into the role, he's already making major shakeups at the troubled big box giant. On Tuesday, it was announced that they intend to reshape his leadership team. And that's just one day after outlets reporting on an internal memo outlining a plan to cut 500 jobs. The change comes as the company continues navigating the backlash and widespread boycott after joining several large retailers and scaling back DEI initiatives around the time that the Trump administration leveled broader attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion. I know Pastor Jamal Bryant of New Birth Church in Atlanta has been among a number of community leaders and organizers that has had his foot on Target's neck for some time now. The ghost is still not clear to go back to Target, but effective Sunday, February 15th, there are a number of folks who will be installed in new positions. And so the Target CEO is trying to recalibrate, but I don't know if this is going to work. But again, look, there may be more than what we're seeing in the headlines, and the Target CEO is certainly welcome to join us here on A More Perfect Union anytime to talk about how he intends to turn the corner under his leadership. In other news, speaking of DEI, can you believe Kid Rock over here calling Jay-Z a DEI hire? You can't make this stuff up. The Grill also reporting that Kid Rock has downplayed Jay-Z's involvement in the Super Bowl halftime show. Jay-Z, of course, has earned plenty of praise and criticism over the Super Bowl halftime show in recent years, but Kid Rock, who got his break as a rapper from the Detroit area, believes the NFL only plays Hove in the position because he's Black. Yeah. The rapper was a guest on the Ingram Angle on Fox News, no surprise there, to discuss the Turning Point halftime show, which he believes was created solely because the NFL put Bad Bunny in the position to perform, and the Super Bowl halftime show in general. He says, quotes, "Nothing against Jay-Z. I respect him for his hustle, his music, but it seems like they're a little bit of a DEI. There's a little bit of a DEI hire there going on. Oh, Black guys love Jay-Z. And of course, I'm not that ignorant. I know a lot of us love Jay-Z, not just Black guys." He added, quotes, "But in the league, we have this problem. It seems like, we'll bring him in. And so, Jay-Z is not going to take the position of power and that money. So then they convene. That was a not-for-profit league until they quietly got rid of the tax-exempt status at some point. So NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell didn't have to disclose his salary. Rock, it's important to note, has stumped for Donald Trump since 2016 and previously backed Mitt Romney, headlined the counter-protest performance produced by Turning Points USA. And despite wide viewership claims by the organization, the event itself was pre-recorded and didn't secure a proper streaming license with X and was widely panned. So you over here talking about Jay-Z, why? Why are you talking about Jay-Z, Kid Rock? Kid Rock, you ain't got no business talking about Jay-Z. And the diversity hire accusation, ain't that so played out? I think it's played out. It's been played out. Folks love to accuse us of being a DEI hire. They love it. I saw it firsthand with Vice President Kamala Harris try to call her a DEI vice president, as if she just sort of fell off of a turnip truck at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and took the job as vice president. Never mind the body of work that these individuals have developed for us, have created for us. Never mind the body of work. Never mind in Jay-Z's case, the album sales, the sold out concerts. Never mind the artistry, his influence that continues to loom large. Never mind any of that. The only possible reason that Kid Rock can come up with for Jay-Z being the lead on the Super Bowl halftime show is because he's a DEI hire. That's so played. That's so played. If you're going to be mad, and if you're going to stay mad, come up with something original. That's my advice to Kid Rock. Come up with something original, because that is played out. When we come forward, we'll be joined with More Perfect Union International Affairs contributor Desiree Cormier-Smith. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Taxes was feeling so stuck. Sitting in traffic, squeezing into a parking spot, all to squeeze in getting tax help during your lunch break. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert who does your taxes for you, while you go about your day getting real-time notifications about their progress and the most money back guaranteed. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Only available with TurboTax experts. Real-time updates only in iOS mobile app.
Febreze. New Febreze Air Mist has 50% more odor fighters and up to 30% more fragrance than the old formula. So now you can take on 100% more stinky odors, like sweaty gym bags, greasy cooking smells, and the after effects of the dog rolling around in something. Just spray, and new Febreze Air instantly restores just clean freshness. Smell you later, odor.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la. As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach? Transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal? Prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on autopsy, then click on request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. Only permanent interests as we effort to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai, and she is Desiree Cormier-Smith, the co-president and co-founder of the Alliance for Diplomacy and Justice. She's also the former U.S. Ambassador for Racial Justice and Diplomacy at the U.S. State Department. If you can believe that position ever existed.
I also love how every time I come on the show, you just change the title. You just make something else up. But we get the gist. I was the first and only special representative for racial equity and justice.
Well, I'd have made you Secretary of State.
I know you sound like my mom.
That's all right, because you are on top of things and you represent our values so well and have for so long. Welcome to the show. So I want to talk to you about Venezuela, because weeks ago Venezuela was all in the headlines, and folks were apoplectic about the administration's overreach into a sovereign nation. Yes, a lot of folks were not fans of Maduro. Yes, he wasn't one of the good guys. But as you have said on this show time and time again, there's a way to go about it so that we don't eventually end up undermining our credibility when it comes to leaders in other parts of the world that decide to cut corners when it comes to really demonstrating a commitment to democratic governance.
That's right. I mean, the way in which this administration went about that was against international law and against domestic law. And that just undercuts the international system, right? So when the United States, the biggest, most consequential player in the world, is basically saying, the rules don't really apply to us, what's stopping other countries from saying the same thing? So it really does set a bad example. And that's why we saw so many leaders around the world, rightfully so, come out and condemn this move.
That's right. And it's also part of why folks are watching what happens in Venezuela so closely. Right. NPR reporting that Venezuelans are testing the limits of their new freedom. And what we're seeing is that across Venezuela, there have been celebrations as the government releases activists who have been charged with treason under Maduro's rule. And in the coming days, there are reports that Venezuela's president is expected to sign a sweeping amnesty law that could secure freedom for hundreds more prisoners still behind bars, a move that has advanced quickly through the National Assembly and is being billed as a step towards national reconciliation. Desiree, what do you make of this?
I mean, it's a positive step. It's a positive step. But, I think we have to follow the lead of the Venezuelan people, right? And, they are cautiously optimistic right now. But it's also just a really difficult mix of emotions, because on one hand, let's be clear, Maduro was a brutal dictator. So there's relief that he's gone. On the other hand, do they want a foreign country just being able to swoop into theirs and, completely violating their sovereignty and decide that to take it upon themselves to remove their president? And let's not forget that Maduro's vice president, Delcy Rodriguez, is still in power. So the regime is still there. They just decapitated the head, but the body is still intact. So, I'm always looking for reasons to be optimistic, but you also have to be realistic and, acknowledge that it's the same people that surrounded Maduro that are in power. So it is promising to hear that Delcy Rodriguez, that the new president, is planning to enact this legislation, but we'll see what's next, right? We'll see how open the spaces for political dissent. Will there be free and fair elections? She hasn't said anything about that. And that's not a priority for this administration. So we don't know.
I mean, can you imagine a world where the Trump administration is actually sending folks to monitor the elections in Venezuela to ensure that they're free and fair, while there are reports that the Trump administration is looking for ways to undermine U.S. elections?
The irony is deep, right? It's the same, like, just hypocrisy about when this administration was talking about going into Iran to protect the human rights of protesters who were being unjustly and violently, killed by police forces, when ICE was doing similar stuff here in Minneapolis. So, the United States has always been hypocritical. We've known that. But this blatant hypocrisy is just, it's completely eroded any kind of moral authority we used to have, any kind of sense of leadership we used to have. And it is actively undermining the international system and the UN. And I think that is by design.
When we come forward, I want to get your take on the ICE director refusing to commit to pausing operations for the 2026 World Cup. This is of great concern, not just here in the city of Los Angeles, but other cities that are also hosting the World Cup. Plus, we want to tell you about a Trump nominee, Jeremy Carl, who is getting a hearing next week in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. You may say, okay, what's the big deal there? Well, he's a very proud white nationalist, very proud in his anti-Semitism, his transphobia, all the things. We're going to ask Desiree to read the tea leaves on this and more. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
The audience is listening. Thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Police are investigating hoax bomb threats into dozens of schools and government buildings in Columbus and Springfield, Ohio that referenced Haitian immigrants. The FBI is leading the probe.
There was the whole essence of the threats where the Haitians should be out, get rid of the Haitians.
More than 30 Columbus elementary schools were targeted, along with the State House and the Columbus Chamber of Commerce. Black Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson says the justices get along well despite major differences in opinion. Speaking on CBS Mornings, Jackson said the court has learned to disagree without being disagreeable and to compartmentalize personal views. And rapper Megan Thee Stallion is joining NBC's Winter Olympics coverage in Italy as part of the Milan Cortina Creator Collective. She'll work with YouTube on behind-the-scenes content, saying music and culture naturally connect with sports. Snoop Dogg is also part of NBC's Olympic coverage. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Legion Park stall on the 110 northbound before the 5 middle lane is blocked. Overall slowing out of South LA from Vernon. Also Sun Valley, it's a crash on the 5 northbound before Sheldon, blocking the left lane. That drive is loading up, getting away from Tuxford. And we're also heading out to Irvine. The 5 northbound slowing from Sand Canyon as you continue all the way to Harbor in Anaheim. Let's also check out the drive on the 57 freeway in Orange. Delays northbound leaving Chapman. You're on the brakes to the 91 and ahead from Imperial Highway all the way to the 60.
Southern California Edison reminds you that downed wires are dangerous. Never approach or touch a downed wire or anything in contact with it. Stay away and call 911. Learn more at sce.com/stay safe.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
After the Lakers' 119-110 loss to Oklahoma City Monday night, LeBron said something that the Lakers organization really did not want to hear. LeBron said, "We are not a championship team." LeBron made the comment when a reporter asked him to compare the Lakers to OKC, the NBA's defending champions. There may have been added motivation for LeBron to make that statement after both teams played without their best player Monday night. OKC came to town without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, last season's NBA MVP. The Lakers didn't have Luka Doncic, the NBA's leading scorer. LeBron saw how OKC handled their injury situation much better than the Lakers. OKC had 6 more free throw attempts, made 4 more three-pointers, and outscored the Lakers bench 54-35. Maybe LeBron should have spoken up before last week's trade deadline. It's too late now for the Lakers to do anything about not being a championship team. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
What's up? What's up? What's up? You got to laugh the pain away.
Hey, KBLA delegation, happy Black History Month. Around here, we celebrate our culture, our community, and our contributions daily. But this year, as we observe the 100th anniversary of Black History Month celebrations, we're excited about our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, honoring comedy greats. On Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum in downtown LA, we're toasting D.L. Hughley, Melanie Camacho, Earthquake, Munell, Dion Cole, and Martin Lawrence with a surprise guest appearance. A limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon remain, so now would be a good time to head to KBLA1580.com to secure one for yourself. That's KBLA1580.com. A little laughter goes a long way, especially in times like these. So come, join us for our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. Again, tickets are available right now at KBLA1580.com.
Well, I hang around my boy. He's been married for 6 years. Videotaping his wedding day, never watched it. Now and every day he watch it every day, but he watch it in reverse. Because he said he loves seeing himself take that ring back off of that finger. Walking back down that aisle, just waving at her ugly mother down the church, getting back in the limo, back at the bachelor party. Look how happy I was.
KBLA Talk 1580 thanks LA City Council members Curran D. Price Jr. and Heather Hutt for being the presenting sponsors at this year's Black History Month Luncheon, honoring excellence, resilience, and achievement. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hit me! National News The Consequence. Informed opinion. And analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Under your leadership.
Sir, I can get you that data. I'll get that back to you.
Is it more than one?
I'm not going to speak about personnel actions, but I'll get you that data.
Can you tell us if at least, God, I hope at least one person has been fired for their conduct since these operations have begun? Are you telling us you can't even say one person's been fired?
Sir, I'm not going to talk about personnel actions, but we will get back to you.
But 2 people have been killed so far. Is that right? A nurse named Preddy and a mom named Good. 2 people have been killed so far.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lyons, will you apologize to the family of Renee Good for being called a domestic terrorist by the president and his leadership?
No, sir.
Why not?
Sir, I welcome the opportunity to speak to the family in private, but I'm not going to comment on any active investigation.
Is she a domestic terrorist?
Sir, I'm not going to comment on the investigation. And the president and Secretary Noem are elected officials. That's their right to their comments. But as career law enforcement, we won't speak to any.
Do you agree with their comments?
Sir, I'm not going to go ahead and talk about any ongoing investigation.
Will you apologize to the family of Alex Pretty for also being called a domestic terrorist?
Sir, again, I'm not going to speak to any ongoing investigation.
How many ICE?
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, joined with Desiree Cormier-Smith, the co-president of the Alliance for Diplomacy and Justice. She is our resident international affairs contributor. And what you were just watching was an exchange between Eric Swalwell, Representative Eric Swalwell, and Todd Lyons, who's the acting head of ICE. He refused today to apologize for the administration's rush to describe Renee Good and Alex Pretty as domestic terrorists in the immediate aftermath of their killings by federal agents in Minneapolis. But that's not the only thing he refused to do. The Guardian's reporting that the ICE director refused to commit to pausing operations for the 2026 World Cup. He told the Congressional Committee today that his agency, quote, is a key part of the overall security apparatus for the World Cup and refused to commit to pausing operations near the games at this summer's tournament. Desiree, talk to us about how the acting ICE director's reluctance to say, hey, maybe we came out a little too soon, and referring to these American citizens who are exercising their rights as domestic terrorists. So A, his resistance to that, and B, his resistance to putting people at ease around ICE operations taking place around the World Cup. Talk to us about how these two things may be playing out on the global stage.
Yeah, I think it's a really scary and dangerous reflection of the unwillingness of career people to speak out against the administration, so the politicals of the administration. There has been a chilling effect across the career civil servants that work in the federal government. These are apolitical folks, right? And many of them have been in their jobs for decades and have the relevant expertise. This administration, as we all knew, because they said it in Project 2025, was going to come in and traumatize the career bureaucracy, push them out, make them afraid to make any decisions, and basically flood the zone with unqualified but loyal to Trump political appointees. And that is what's happening. And that should terrify every American, because this is a common tactic in authoritarian countries. We have seen this before in other countries where a leader, even if he is democratically elected, will have authoritarian tendencies, that wants to have authoritarian tendencies. One of the first things he does is surround himself with people who are not qualified, but who are unyieldingly loyal to him. And that is what we see. So the refusal of the ICE director or the unwillingness to contradict Kristi Noem or the president of the United States by simply expressing some human empathy is really telling. It's really telling.
It very much so. And, you know, the United States, you know, our power isn't just derived from our military. Our power is not just derived from our might, but the power of our example looms large.
That's right.
And if this is the way that we allow our government to behave related to a global event that's happening on American soil, right, then where's the deterrent for other leaders around the world that have authoritarian tendencies at the very least? You know, who's to say that they don't use a global event, you know, to wage their retribution campaign against people they deem enemies, both foreign and domestic?
Right. I mean, it's just also so dumb because it's so self-defeating, right? Like, by refusing to say, yes, we will pause ICE operations to ensure that people who are visiting this country to enjoy the World Cup, which is a global game, and we want to welcome everybody here. you are scaring people away.
Mm-hmm.
You are then bringing in less money to our economy.
Mm-hmm.
You are hurting local businesses, right? And this is the cost of racism. I mean, it's the same example I always point to. You know, there are examples of racist white people in the South who would rather fill a swimming pool with concrete than allow Black children to swim in it. That hurts them and their families, right? Now their kids don't have anywhere to swim, but they couldn't stomach the idea of swimming with Black kids. It's the same concept. It's like these people are undermining their own interests just to be racist.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't care, because as long as the other is hurting more than they are, then it's acceptable.
No, I think you're absolutely right. You know, and speaking of folks peddling in racism, you know, I want to share a little bit about this Trump nominee. Mr. Jeremy Carl. He is getting a hearing next week. He's getting a hearing
this week.
I'm sorry, this week in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. This is somebody who has been documented as a white nationalist, as being anti-Semitic and transphobic and misogynist, all those things. This guy's had to delete thousands and thousands of tweets. Take a listen to this post that we found on social media, just to give you some flavor for who we're talking about.
CNN uncovered thousands of deleted posts that a top Trump nominee apparently didn't want you to see. Meet Jeremy Carl, Donald Trump's pick for Assistant Secretary of State. It's a powerful post, shaping U.S. policy at the UN and managing more than 100 top-level diplomats worldwide. Before his nomination, he tried to wipe away thousands of tweets. He called Democrats evil and the treason party. He claimed Capitol rioters actually had it worse than Black Americans in Jim Crow, Mississippi, and even said a teachers union leader should face the death penalty. Then he deleted at least 5,000 tweets. Here's the thing. Anyone can delete their own post, but Carl actually went a step further. He asked the Internet Archive's Wayback Machine, that's the nonprofit website that saves snapshots of old web pages, to remove his tweets from their database. So how did we find the tweets? Even though Carl scrubbed his account and asked the Internet Archive to remove them, he missed an old username under the same account, and thousands of his posts were still publicly accessible. He repeatedly called January 6 rioters political prisoners. He said that Nancy Pelosi attempted a military coup on January 6th. He promoted the racist Great Replacement theory. He mocked the murder of George Floyd, calling him a violent felon who he said was looking up from hell. And now, this same man could be leading U.S. diplomatic policy, including at the United Nations and other multinational bodies. Carl will still have to get approved out of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and then will face a full Senate vote on his confirmation. In a statement to CNN, White House spokesperson Anna Kelly said, Jeremy Carl did great work during President Trump's first administration, and he is highly qualified to serve as Assistant Secretary of State for international organizations. The administration stands by our nominees.
The administration stands by their nominee, Jeremy Carl, for Assistant Secretary of International Organizations. Desiree, for folks who don't know what that means, talk to us quickly about what the role is and why it is so dang important, particularly in a global community that seems to be on fire these days.
Yeah, I mean, he would be the senior most U.S. diplomat managing our relationship with the UN and representing the United Nations to the rest of the world through the United Nations, right? He would be determining how we engage with the UN and all of its agencies, including the agencies responsible for human rights, for refugees, for immigration, for promoting equality, for working with children. I mean, all of these issues, we know that there's a racial dynamic to that, right? We know that Black folks around the world are differently and disproportionately impacted by every single issue we face, whether it is housing, food insecurity, economic inequality, right? And so for a man who is an avowed white supremacist and who believes that there is some kind of global conspiracy theory for that Jewish people and people of color are trying to replace white people, for him to be the face of the United States to the rest of the world would completely undermine our interests. Because I don't know if Mr. Carl is aware of this, but the majority of the world is not white. So
breaking news. Breaking news.
How can we expect a man with such a public record of racism and vile anti-Semitism to be engaging with diplomats from Africa, from the Caribbean, from Latin America, from Asia? Heck, even European diplomats who may not be white, because, hey, they exist.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so this is an incredibly powerful role, and this man would be incredibly dangerous in it. A nominee in this role must be committed to upholding the universal equality and dignity of all persons, regardless of their race or nationality or religion or anything else. And the person must be promoting inclusive and just global governance.
So Desiree, is it possible that Democrats in the Senate are going to be able to hold this nomination? Can they hold this off until at least after the election?
Nope. They are in the minority. So we will need some Republicans, many of whom have, said that they oppose anti-Semitism. We need some of them to show that they really do oppose it. And now we know that anti-Black racism is not a deal breaker for them, unfortunately.
So my question then is, so to the groups out there like AIPAC, that keep their flashlight on when it comes to rooting out anti-Semitism among other groups. Mm-hmm. How come are we hearing any opposition from the AIPACs of the world?
I haven't seen anything, but they're very selective, right? If someone is seen as pro-Israel in their eyes, then they're kind of willing to excuse some of the more vile anti-Semitism, which is bizarre.
Yeah. When we come forward, we're switching gears. It's time for the quiet part out loud, and want to talk to Desiree about the backlash as U.S. national monuments are conforming to Trump's rewrite of history. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
LADWP urges everyone to always keep safety top of mind. If you see a downed wire, don't touch it. Stay far away and call 911 immediately. Downed wires can be deadly. Whether you're at home, work, or on the road, always assume the wire is live. Together, we can keep Los Angeles safe and powered. Learn more at ladwp.com/electric safety.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Notable journalists, industry leaders, lawmakers, change makers, tastemakers, and you, working to build a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to a More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai. She's Desiree Cormier-Smith, co-president of the Alliance for Diplomacy and Justice, our resident international affairs contributor, our resident change maker, if you will. And speaking of change, there's a backlash that has been brewing, but what makes this so terrible is that it involves U.S. national monuments. These are national monuments that don't just belong to one person or one political party. They belong to all of us. And there is a very shameful work afoot that is conforming to Trump's rewrite of history, whether we're talking about the walls of President's House in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where a series of panels about enslavement once appeared on the walls there. They ain't there no more. Or we're talking about the removal of two exhibits at a Montana Little Bighorn Battlefield National Monument that discussed indigenous history and the Battle of Little Bighorn. That's been targeted and deemed non-compliant. Back home in the Bay, signage about climate change at the Muir Woods National Monument, and a visitor's brochure at Medgar and Merle Evers' home, that national monument in Mississippi that referred to Medgar Evers' killer as racist. Well, that's also been removed. Desiree, talk to us about the far-reaching implications of this rewrite of history. If we were watching this go down in any other country overseas, I think we would be watching in horror, and there would be no shrug of the shoulders.
You know, I remember when Trump signed this executive order on restoring sanity, quote unquote, restoring sanity to U.S. history or something like that. And I'll always remember it because I know exactly where I was when it came out. I was in Germany. I was at the former Nazi headquarters with a group of German and American historians and activists and policymakers to explore how critical memory is preserved in Germany and America. And when I tell you that there was a shockwave that went through the entire group, and I immediately looked to the historians, and they all were terrified, especially the Germans, because they said that's exactly what Hitler did. And it wasn't a hyperbole. They weren't exaggerating. He literally started by whitewashing Germany's history. And so it was just a really stark and scary reminder of the parallels between Hitler's regime, and this administration. And, you know, Republicans and right-wingers love to, you know, say that is so extreme and hyperbolic. Well, if you don't want to be compared to Nazis, don't do Nazi shit.
Nazi stuff. We're still on the radio.
All right, I'm sorry. Nazi stuff. I'm sorry. But, you know, this is literally out of the Nazi playbook.
Yeah.
So how could we not call those comparisons? But, you know, I think there is, again, authoritarians are very intentional about wiping out history because they don't want anyone to be critical of the great nation. And they also never want to acknowledge the contributions of the other, whether that is indigenous peoples, whether that is Black people, to the great nation, because that completely contradicts their lies that certain people are superior to others.
It's definitely hard to turn us into a boogeyman if folks are able to see our humanity, if people are able to see our genius, if they're able to see our leadership on the same plane as their own. That's what has always created change, not just here in the United States, but around the world. We'll have to leave it there. My thanks to the lovely and talented Desiree Cormier-Smith. We always enjoy when you join us here on the show. We always feel a little bit smarter and more importantly, feel less alone. Having someone like you who's traveled the world to offer us a global perspective and some sobering takes on what's afoot, but somebody that is nonetheless still in the fight. We appreciate you and we salute you.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
My thanks to the entire village helps us produce a more perfect union each and every day. Our executive producer, Tavis Smiley, our sound engineer, brother Andy, our show producers, Faraji and Art, and of course, each and every one of you, all of our leaders, learners, and listeners. We curate this show every day, up to the minute we go on air with you in mind. And remember, don't panic, organize. Do what you can from where you are with what you have, but by all means, do something. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai, and you've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
And ordering the LAPD to preserve evidence tied to enforcement operations. Fast says the move is meant to protect Los Angeles and was shaped by input from immigrant rights groups. The city of Chicago was